want to talk about a Pokemon. I've only talked about Pokemon once before when I gave my review of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I gave it a pretty negative review, and I stand by everything I said in that video. Link to that in the description. But barring those games, I really do love Pokemon. I've been a huge fan ever since I was little. Today, however, I want to focus on one single Pokemon. One that I never really cared about or paid close attention to as a kid. But I saw this Pokemon in sort of a new light recently. And it led me down a path of research, and one thing led to another, and some research led to some more research. And I think I've uncovered what could only be described as a secret origin for this Pokemon. One that may or may not be intended by the devs, but nevertheless, one that has never been talked about on the internet before. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to sit back and relax as I go over what I believe to be the secret and unknown origins of Deoxys. Deoxys is one of the few Pokemon out of the ever-growing list of nearly 1,000 different Pokemon to be based off of space. This is what the Sapphire Pokedex entry says about it. Deoxys emerged from a virus that came from space. It is highly intelligent and wields psychokinetic powers. This Pokemon shoots lasers from the crystalline organ on its chest. And that's it. For 3 years, that was the only explanation we had of the origin of Deoxys. Until Diamond and Pearl released. An alien virus that fell to Earth on a meteor underwent a DNA mutation to become this Pokemon. So Deoxys is an alien virus that accidentally made its way to Earth on a meteor. So like the disgusting humans we are, we experimented on it with DNA mutation, whatever that means. So now it's a Pokemon? That's the part that's always bothered me. So it wasn't a Pokemon before? Because it was what exactly? An alien virus? From what? Came here why? To infect who? Taking it over to our world, and Deoxys has what have up until this point been pretty cut and dry inspirations and origins. Deoxys draws inspiration from certain representations of aliens within its various forms, resembling that of the nucleic acid double helix, although it may be more loosely based on viruses and mutations in general. Its name, of course, comes from the term deoxyribonucleic acid, which is the scientific and unabbreviated form of the term DNA. And Deoxys is in fact called Deoxys in every language. Simple enough, right? It's based off of aliens and DNA, the two things in its Pokedex entry. Although, it's worth mentioning, Deoxys has 4 forms: normal form, attack form, defense form, and speed form. Because of all the DNA references, people have noticed that 3 of its forms start with D, N, and A. Neat, but what about the S? S has nothing to do with DNA and doesn't show up once in the term deoxyribonucleic acid. Obviously, these forms are based off of Pokemon stats, and this 4th form is always going to be S. The other stats are special attack and special defense. There's also evasion and accuracy, but an entire form based around those stats would not only be absolutely broken, but evasion form and accuracy form don't really roll off the tongue like the others. Something doesn't add up. Something just didn't seem right to me. So I did some digging, and what I found is honestly pretty remarkable. The first person I wanted to bring up is a Japanese graphic designer named Hironobu Yoshida. He's worked in several different aspects of the Pokemon franchise, but for the purpose of this video, I want to talk about all the Pokemon he's single-handedly designed. There's not that many. Over the years, he's created 7 Pokemon: Wobbuffet, Dunsparce, Celebi, Rayquaza, Magmortar, Darkrai, and Deoxys. Notice any similarities between these Pokemon? Yeah, me neither. At least, not at first. Remember them though, we'll get back to them later. The next person I want to direct your attention to is a YouTuber by the name of Nick Robinson. In his videos, he takes deep dives into the more mysterious corners of the video game world. For example, he uncovered a hidden character in the pay-to-play Nintendo 3DS game Rusty's Real Deal Sluggers that was not documented by anyone else, and he tracked down and subsequently dumped the ROM of a long-thought, lost-to-time McDonald's DS hiring game. Very recently, he made a video discussing the differences between American depictions of UFOs and Japanese depictions of UFOs. If that interests you, feel free to watch his video. It's really great. He's a fantastic video essayist. But my biggest takeaway from it was the fact that Japanese depiction of aliens are usually kind, polite, and helpful, whereas American depictions of aliens are typically more mean-spirited, hostile, and antagonistic. Let's briefly go over every alien/space-themed Pokemon. Cleffa, Clefairy, and Clefable come from the moon. They evolve with moonstones, they worship meteorites, and they practice moon dances. They are definitely more in line with the typical Japanese depiction of aliens. Lunatone and Solrock are in fact meteorites who draw their power from the moon and sun respectively. Elgium and Bihim are based off the specific events of the 1947 Roswell, New Mexico UFO sighting. Debated to be real or not for many years and spawning many alien exists among us theories, so more in line with American aliens. Eternatus, Kyurem, Staryu, and Starmie all come from space but aren't based off any real-world space concepts. Staryu and Starmie are based off starfish, Kyurem along with its two buddies are actually based off of yin and yang, and Eternatus is based off of King Arthur, if you can believe it. Also, this is all fan speculation because the Pokemon Company rarely confirms any of this. And last but not least, we have Deoxys, who by all accounts appears to be based off the more Americanized depictions of aliens. The reason this bothers me is that we already have Elgium and Bihim. I know that they came out 2 generations after Deoxys, but it's not usually that the Pokemon Company doubles down on high concept mons. Sure, there's 2 sheep Pokemon and like 8 fox Pokemon, but there's only 1 chandelier Pokemon. So I propose, what if Deoxys isn't based off of aliens at all? Let's talk about Pokemon and mythology. There are several Pokemon based off of real-world mythologies. Most notably, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza are based off of Behemoth, Leviathan, and Ziz from Hebrew mythology, and Zygarde, Xerneas, and Yveltal are based off of Loki's children, Yggdrasil, and Vedfulnir from Norse mythology. What if Deoxys is based off a mythological figurehead, one that has their origin in space and space travel? Well, allow me to introduce you to the third person of discussion this evening, H.P. Lovecraft. Whether he intended to or not, H.P. Lovecraft created his own religion, and with it, religious and mythological deities. The most well-known being, of course, Cthulhu. But the Cthulhu mythos, as it's called, is huge. Cthulhu is definitely one of the most important, but he's one of many. The one I believe Deoxys to be based off of has many names and many forms, the most common of which being Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep is one of the big, important, old ones from the Cthulhu mythos. He's a protector of the other gods, he's Azathoth's son, Azathoth being the ruler of the old gods, essentially the Odin or Zeus of the Cthulhu mythos. But Nyarlathotep's also malevolent. He's said to have thousands of forms, most of which would drive a normal human being mad until death at the mere sight of. The alien virus known as Deoxys has no form. The only reason it looks like this is due to the DNA testing done by humans, and also it's a Pokemon now. But even still, the crystalline organ in its chest is said to be its brain. So I theorize that as long as it's attached to the organ, it can take whatever form it wants. It just chooses these 4 to fall in line with typical Pokemon statistics that it now unfortunately must abide by. So let's return to the letters. If it's not DNA and a sloppy leftover S, then what is it? Well, first let's put them back in their correct order. N-A-D-S. Which of course spells nothing, but maybe they stand for something. So N is obviously Nyarlathotep. A could be Azathoth, Nyarlathotep's father. I thought maybe D could be Devil because he's described as an avatar of the devil, but the more I research, the more I'm convinced it's darkness. Nyarlathotep is usually shrouded in darkness and depicted with pitch black skin. He also has a sibling literally named Darkness. And S has to point towards Stalker Among the Stars, one of Nyarlathotep's various titles. So if Nyarlathotep is in fact the origin of Deoxys, then are there any other Lovecraft Pokemon? What about Cthulhu, the most well-known of the old ones? Does he have a Pokemon? Well, would you look at that? If Deoxys really is Nyarlathotep, then maybe the other ones are right here. Dunsparce is Azathoth, because Azathoth is described as a blind idiot. Celebi is Yog-Sothoth, because time travel. Rayquaza is Yig, because he's the father of serpents, and he even kind of looks like Rayquaza. Darkrai is Cthulhu, because he dwells in the depths and feeds off of dreams. Magmortar is Cathalpa, because she's a giant, massive, sentient magma. And Wobbuffet, Wobbuffet can be Shub-Niggurath because I ran out of ideas and I wanted to get a picture of Shub-Niggurath into the video somehow. And I know I'm going to get the most backlash from Rayquaza. I know he's based off of Ziz from Hebrew mythologies, but Pokemon have definitely had double origins before. So what do you think? Pretty cool, right? Deoxys isn't based off of traditional aliens, it's based off of Nyarlathotep from Lovecraft lore. At least that's what I think. Who knows if I'm right? You know, now that I think about it, they never specified. Is Deoxys an alien virus, as in a virus alien to Earth? Or is it an alien virus, as in a virus that infects aliens? Well, if it's the second one, it kind of sounds like Venom. Oh, shit. The being known as Venom is a symbiote from a nameless planet. As newborns, the symbiotes were ruled by an alien overlord named Null. After being freed from Null, the symbiote traveled to a different planet where it accidentally bonded with an unnamed alien warrior who used the symbiote to carry out genocide on his home planet. So, symbiotes are beings that need a host, hence the root word symbiotic, which essentially means one cannot survive without another. But as they move from host to host, they pick up the personalities of each host. So, the symbiote bonded with the alien war general guy, right? He makes his way to Earth, and for like 30 seconds bonds with Deadpool before ultimately bonding with Spider-Man. After the whole Venom spider ordeal, the symbiote bonded with Eddie Brock, became the crazy genocidal Spider-Man powers having supervillain we've come to know as Venom, and the rest is history. So, is Deoxys based off of Venom? I mean, if he is, Nintendo would never admit basing a character off a character from a different IP. Then again, Venom combines itself with other living beings to become one being, and Deoxys doesn't do that. Unless maybe this thing is the host? Maybe the crystalline organ is an alien and Deoxys is the red, blue, and purple substance. They never explained the organ in the Pokedex entries. They mention the meteorite, the DNA testing, and the organ, but never does it mention if it arrived with the organ or not, so we're left to speculate. The final bit I want to leave you with is this. Let's return to the letters one last time. N-A-D-S. Nameless planet, alien warrior, Deadpool, Spider-Man. They're even in the appropriate order that the Venom origin story took place. That's all I got, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Thunder, one half of Thunder and Lightning Gaming. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and go follow us over on Twitch. Link to that in the description.
Hi.
Let's keep this brief.
For the month of April, we'll be conducting
Our biggest contest and giveaway yet.
The goal?
Help us reach 200 subscribers on YouTube and 35 followers on Twitch.
Here's what you can get if these goals are met.
Please make sure to follow, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.